So good day everyone, I'm Roger Evan Freya, the second reporter of Group 11. So my report is a continuation of the former reporter. So my topic is on the other administration and enjoyment of community property or conjugal partnership. Article 96 and 124 of the Family Code provide that Article 96, the administration and enjoyment of the community property shall belong to the both spouses jointly. In case of disagreement, the husband's decision shall prevail, subject to recourse to the court by the wife for proper remedy, which must be availed of within 5 years from the date of the contract implementing such decision. So, ang community properties belong na sa banaw gasawa. However, the husband is the administrator. These were the husband's decisions matter or how power in the case of disagreement. However, the wife can question the court. She has the remedy for such decision for 5 years. If mahuman ang 5 years, the action shall prescribe. So, there are instances nga naa kay sole power sa administration. First is if your spouse is incapacitated or ang mga tawong impaired or kanang mga mental unstable or physical unstable or anyone nga dili maka-communicate. Second, dili siya maka-participate sa administration or of the common property. So, Article 124, the administration and enjoyment of the conjugal partnership shall belong to both spouses jointly. In case of disagreement, the husband's decision shall prevail subject to recourse of the court by the wife for proper remedy, which must be availed of within 5 years from the date of the contract implementing such decision. So sa conjugal partnership, ang tag-iya ani kay pareho ang banaw asawa. However, ang bana may administrator, meaning his decision shall prevail if ever na ay disagreement. Pero na ay remedy ang asawa na decision. She has the right and power to question the court for 5 years gikan sa date sa pag-implement ana na decision. After 5 years, na ay action or decision na ma-prescribe unsay may tabo after. There also naa dya po instances nga naa kay sole power sa administration. So however, bisag naa kay sole power sa administrator, you cannot sell the properties of conjugal property. Para ka makabaligya naa dapat authorization gikan sa court or written consent gikan sa imong bana or asawa. If ever sa bana ug asawa mobaligya sa ilang properties unya walay consent sa bana or asawa, bisag bulag na sila, ang ilang sale kay void since dili mana pwede kay walay kay authorization or written consent gikan sa imong pares. So ang Article 96 and Article 124 is usa ra sila. So let's go to the next topic. On the exercise of parental authority over the person and legal guardianship over the property of common children. Articles 111 and 225 of the Family Code state that Article 211, the father and mother shall jointly exercise parental authority over the persons of their common children. In case of disagreement, the father's decision shall prevail unless there is judicial order of the contrary. So in this article, it stated that both parents has the right authorization sa ilang mga anak. In kaso na ay mga disagreement, ang papa mo'y na ay power or iyang decision matuman unless there is a judicial order of the contrary. So, the children shall respect their parents and mutuo sa mga ginikanan kung naa pa sila sa poder sa ilang mga ginikanan or under sila sa authority. So, Article 225. The father and the mother shall jointly exercise legal guardianship over the property of the unemancipated common child without the necessity of a court appointment. In case of disagreement, the father's decision shall prevail unless there is a judicial order of the contrary. This article stated both parents has the right or authorization sa property sa ilang mga anak nga unemancipated or katong mga under sa 21 years old na who has never been married or naminyo pero na-annulled na and who remains under the control pas ilang mga mama o papa bisag wala sila gapuyo nila. If ever na ay disagreement, ang papa Japon ang decision muy mo prevail unless there is a judicial order to contrary. So let us now proceed to the next topic, which is the higher order burden on women wives than men husbands. The crimes of adultery and concubinage include the concept of marital infidelity. So, ang marital infidelity is cheating siya. So, adultery involves a wife who engage into sexual intercourse with a man not her husband. So, the crimes of adultery and concubinage include the concept of marital infidelity. Concubinage involves a husband who has sexual intercourse with a woman not his wife under scandalous circumstances, keep another woman and conjugal home, cohabiting with another woman and another dwelling. So, it involves a husband nga nakig-sexual intercourse sa bayi, dili siya asawa under sa scandalous circumstances. And nagkeep og laing bayi sa ilang balay nila manag-asawa. Lastly is maglive or cohabiting with another woman in another dwelling. For the crime of adultery to be proven, the mere sexual intercourse with a man not her husband will suffice. In contrast, for the crime of adultery, the sexual intercourse must be combined under scandalous circumstances, not mere sexual intercourse. Para sa mga crime sa adultery, ma-prove kinahanglan na under og sexual intercourse of scandalous circumstances kay dili ma-prove ra nga nag-sexual intercourse lang sila sa laing dili nila mana. Under scandalous circumstances is when naa kay affair na nakita sa laing tawo or sa community. The wife of adultery case incurs a higher penalty that for the erring husband in concubinage. A penalty of imprisonment is also impossible on paramour in adultery, but the other penalty of distero or banishment falls on the concubinage and concubinine and concubinage. So the adultery has the higher penalty compared the concubinage. Possible na ay penalty of imprisonment ang adultery, whereas ang concubinage kay na ay penalty of distero or ang concubinine kay na ay penalty of punishment or dili na siya makapuyo sa balay sa accused party or dapat Ang distance sa banishment kay 25 kilometers. Dayon na ay specific length of time ang banishment. So let us now move on to another topic, which is forgiveness, clues, and the crime of rape. So, Anti-Rape Law, Republic Act 8353 contains a clause that can easily exonerate the offender and can further endanger the victim. In the law, it was stated that subsequent valid marriage between the offender and the other offended party shall extinguish the criminal action or the penalty imposed. So this law consider that any person bisag prostitute na bayi, dili na virgin or katong mga tawo nga naay active sexual life can be victimized by rape. However, this also has its cons and pros to some, wherein naay balaod nga makapasaylo sa nagama na crime or ang rape. First is nagakontain siya og clues nga maka-exonerate sa offender or kanang dili na ma-blame ang offender sa iyang nabuhat, and this can endanger the victim. Gi-state sa law na ang subsequent valid marriage or second marriage between the offender and the offended party kay wala mawala na ang criminal action or ang penalty na gi-impose. It gives an easy way out for the offender, which in effect does not bar him from committing the crime. Kaning pamaagi or kini nga law, pabor kaayo ni sa mga offender nga maabot sa point na dili na niya karga o pwede niyang i-deny iyang nabuhat na crime. So it's also recognized that if the offender is the legal husband, the subsequent forgiveness by the wife, who is the offended party, shall extinguish the criminal action or the penalty. It also stated na if ang offender kay legal husband, kung pasayloon siya sa iyang asawa or naay subsequent forgiveness gikan sa asawa nga maoy gi-offend, kay mawala bisan na ang crime nga nabuhat or ang penalty. This perpetuates violence under the sword of marriage, which can perpetuate these kinds of abuses for a long period of time. This is one of the reason why ang violence sa sword marriage kay dili maundang. Kaning mga abuse kay hantod sa hangtod tungod ani na balaod. So, exclusive definition of prostitution. So, Article 202 of the Revised Penal Code, amended by Republic Act 10158, retained the decades-old definition of prostitutes as women who, for money or profit, habitually engage in sexual intercourse or lascivious conduct. Following this definition, a man who peddles sexual acts for profit is in effect visible in the eyes of law, making the actor thereof immune the imprisonment. So according to the article of Revised Penal Code, amended by the Republic Act 10158, a prostitute is a woman who engage in sexual intercourse para sa mga kwarta or profit. Gamiton ang ilang lawas for money. They are also known as sex workers, which is a man who sells sexual acts para sa money or profit. Pwede siya mapriso. And that concludes my report. Thank you so much for listening.